Good morning and welcome back. And as Shiro exited to the left after her humble brag, we do have Dr. Kizzie Shako here, the Senior Medical Forensic Officer with us. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much for having me here.
And, you know, the most interesting thing, and I want to start from there, the fact that in med school, when I talk to my friends, you know, usually all of you join us first years, you all have these grand plans of what you will do in your medical field, and then you're introduced to the cadaver. And usually at that point is where you see very many people thinking, you know what, pharmacy is also an option. I will go down that particular road. But not for you. In fact, you say you're not afraid of cadavers at all.
No, not at all. Actually, I remember that day very well. When in med school, we were finally let into the anatomy lab, and I was like, ooh, you know, I was really excited. Of course, everyone else thought there was something wrong with me.
Yes.
But it was fun. For me, it's fascinating. It's very interesting. Yeah, it doesn't give me the creeps or anything like that.
So even at that point when it was put on the table and you're told, okay, look for organ A or organ B, you were totally fine, not freaked out?
I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
And
it wasn't an issue for me at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
And even before that, when you were actually, you know, in high school and planning to go and do medicine, did you think you'd want to take such a path, or did you discover it as you went, you know, through the motions? Well,
from when I was very young, around 5, 6, I knew I wanted to be around crime scenes and be part of death investigations. So, you know, this kept changing. I thought maybe journalism, maybe policewoman, maybe, you know. Then after high school, my mom was like, you know, you can do medicine and become a pathologist. And I thought, med school is for super bright people who don't have a life. So and eventually I found myself there, but I knew where I was going. I knew I'd end up in forensic medicine. Yeah.
So that's what you wanted to do, and you were focused on
yes.
the entire journey.
Yes, that's what kept me going, because med school is tough. It's very tough. You really need to be strong and resilient and persevere. Yeah.
Was that any point where, you know, through the journey, and you're like, you know what, it's a bit much. I can do something else. It's a bit too rigorous. And like you said, you want a life at the end of the day. You don't want to watch your life just passing by when you're busy, you know, cadaver after cadaver, trying to get that degree. Did you ever feel that at any point?
Yes, many times. In first year, second year, third year, every year.
Every year?
Every year. You really have to reevaluate yourself again and tell yourself again, why am I doing this? Okay, for me personally, because it was really, really tough. But yeah, I kept my eye on the prize and I kept going. But I remember at some point after med school, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do internship. It's just too hard. And anyway, I don't want to treat people. I just want to be on the other end, you know, what happens when they pass on. But, you know, it doesn't work like that. You have to do the whole process. Yeah, it's a process.
Okay. And for you, what was the purpose? What kept you going every single time you felt like, I can't do it again? What's that inner drive?
Well, I'm not a quitter. I can't live with myself as having quit something. That for me is unacceptable. And a lot of energy and resources had gone into getting me into med school. Plus, I really couldn't imagine being anywhere but in forensic medicine. So for those reasons, I just kept going. Even now, I keep going. It's what keeps me going. Yeah.
And for most people, the reason why they go to med school is to treat people, save lives, do that kind of thing. What was your drive? Because you're, like you said, on the other side, you know? How do you view it?
I'm inquisitive, I'm curious. I want to know what caused this death or what caused these injuries and how can it be avoided so that we can have less people dying or being hurt from the same kind of causes. So I'm more, now, especially after beginning work, I'm more of a justice seeker. Yeah, everything I do is to help victims of violence get their justice, the justice they deserve. Yeah, so that's what I'm more about.
Okay, and when you're on the other side, because I mean, every day you'll see a different case, a different person, probably a different reason for why they died. In your personal life, does that make you paranoid?
Yes.
You know, because every place you're going, you're like, I might sit here, this chair might fall, and I'll bump my head, and there's all these things. How do you live your life?
Yeah, it actually does, and I think we all go through this in this field. I remember the first time I actually got paranoid was after I watched my senior colleagues do an autopsy on this girl who got hurt in an accident where a container fell on the car, and she didn't have time to run out. That really terrified me. To date, you'll not find me driving around or near containers, you know, and I want to control my space because I'm like, anything can happen and people won't run away fast enough. So yes, you do get some element of paranoia, but we are supposed to go through regular debriefing to try and not live like that. You can't live scared of everything. So yeah, but it happens.
Does the debriefing help? Well, that's supposed to be a convincing smile. Okay.
Well, I've not been very good at that, but yes, it does help. It does help to let loose sometimes. Yeah, it does. A lot, actually. And it's encouraged to do it frequently for all medical practitioners, actually, in all fields.
Okay. And, because for one thing is, you're a professional on one hand. On the other hand, you're also a mother. And, I mean, if you're that paranoid about yourself, and everything that's happening around you, generally, with a mother who doesn't even know all the things that you do know, there's a certain level of, caution and care that you take for your children. Is yours on 200% now? Because anytime they leave the house, they are up the stairs, they are, playing with other kids, in the sand pit. How do you handle that?
Yes, I'm actually, at 400%. So especially because of what I currently do, where there's a lot of child assault, child sexual and physical assault, I am very, very cautious with my child and what he does. So I make sure he's always supervised. Yes, I'm quite, extra. I'm very extra when it comes to taking care of him and others around him, other children. So even when, let's say, there are kids in the neighborhood who come to the house and they'll sit there for 2 hours. I'm like, why is no one looking for them? Like, they don't know who I am. I really get a bit worried, to be honest, because of all the negative things we see. I see a lot of the negative side of society. Yeah.
It's just like a hazard of the trade.
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, just walk us through the journey. So you're done with uni. You still have the conviction that this is what I want to do. You didn't want to do the internship, but life taught you different.
I had to do it.
How did that happen? Where did you get your internship, and how did that roll out from there?
Well, I had to do internship. It's like you can't go through med school and then not do internship. Come on, it's just one last patch. Just finish it, because then you have more doors open to you.
Right.
You can always choose what you want to do after that. If you want to quit, go ahead and quit. But if you want to come back after quitting, you can come back and continue. So, I completed my internship. It was very tough. There were very many challenges. But yeah, I went ahead, and then I expressed my desire to be in the, I remember telling the director of medical services, I said, wherever you're sending me, just make sure there's a mortuary, because that's where I want to be. So that kind of got them thinking, and before I knew it, I was in the forensic and pathology services. And I would be placed under supervision of my senior colleagues, and we'd do autopsies together. Yeah. Okay. Basically, for about 3 years. After that, I was seconded to the National Police Service as a police surgeon. And that entails, that's basically a forensic physician or a forensic doctor who deals with the living injured. So I examine and document injuries sustained in cases of violence, in child abuse, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, road accidents, occupational hazards, animal attacks, anything that results in injuries. I document on a P3 form. You've heard of the P3 form?
Yes.
Yes.
We always hate as a threat. That's only a P3. That's the only time it comes out, not in normal conversation.
Yes, and people actually use it for that purpose, just to threaten and maybe extort funds. Many times that's what happens. But more often than not, it is a medical legal report used to secure justice.
Okay, and because this for you is a calling, definitely.
Yes.
But your calling is in the police force. A police force that is very often persecuted. Every single time,
All the time.
They never get it right, so it seems. How do you feel? Because every single day you're going out there, you're working hard, you're trying to effect change, but it's such a thankless job as far as the team is concerned.
Yes, it's very tricky. Well, I'm not a police officer, but I do work for the police. But I'm quite, I get very upset when everyone's always complaining about the police this, the police that, because I get to see the very good side of the police. They do a lot above and beyond their call of duty many times. And if they were not working, then I would not be so busy at work, and I'm a very busy person. Getting me can be really tricky. Yes, I'm always seeing patients. I'm in court all the time, every day. Currently I have 3 warrants of arrest after me because I didn't attend court because I was busy somewhere else. So if they were not working, I wouldn't be so busy. So they are working. So like in any other state, there are good cops and there are bad cops.
Did you just say you have 3 warrants of arrest?
Yes.
After you?
It's part of the job.
Might anybody be barging in here at this point and on live TV curfew? We need to know.
I hope they'll wait.
Until we are done.
Until we are done.
Okay, and I mean, amidst all of this, because I mean, just from the professional inbox, your entry, it looks totally full. You have to do that. You have to be a mother, which is another full-time job.
And a student.
And a student as well. But that wasn't enough for Daktari. She decided to blog as well. Because, I mean, she has 25 hours in her day.
You know.
The time.
She's crazy.
How do you juggle? Where do you get it from? Where do you get all this time to do all of this?
I don't know how I do it sometimes, to be honest. Most people who know me will say, you know, Kizzie doesn't sleep. She never sleeps. She's always up. I sleep. Come on, you have to sleep. But I sleep late. But yeah, I try to maximize everything in the hours that I have awake. So I multitask a lot. And yeah, so, you know, it's tricky, but it has to be done. And I enjoy it. So it's not a problem juggling everything together. I hope to be done with school this year. Then I'll have a lot more time on my hands. Yeah.
Okay. And especially like with the blogging, is that your outlet for all the other pressure that's coming from all these other sides, and you just go and let it out? It's like therapy of sorts?
Bang on. Yes, it is therapeutic to a large extent, because for me, I was like, it's not enough to just keep seeing a patient after patient, victim after victim, document, go to court, read out your findings. I thought, you know, this is kind of, why are we doing this? It doesn't make sense. Let's try and do something to change it. Let's try and do something to inform people what it is they keep doing wrong, so that they can try and change their habits or behaviors. So that's why I started blogging and writing articles, and that's why I do what I do. Because I think justice at the end of the day is very therapeutic, especially for the victims. And even suspects need to be treated, you know, they need to be treated the right way. Sometimes they're just suspects, they're not guilty. They're not innocent they're innocent till proven guilty. And many times we forget that. Yeah.
And
so
do you ever see this progressing to a point where it'll be activist Kizzie? You say, you know, I'll even put this for us. I'll just put the Daktari for a moment, back banner, go out there and just fight for justice. Do you ever feel that would be the next phase?
I'm still thinking about it. I think I quite like being Daktari only. Yeah, with one foot a bit on the other side. But yeah, I prefer being what I am, because I'm more open-minded and objective. I find activists tend to be very unobjective, you know. They just hear this and they run with it without getting facts or anything, which to me doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, you've talked about the debriefs. You talk about how, you know, what you're supposed to do because of the pressure of the type of work you do. But at the end of the day, you're a human. You've come from a court case where it probably didn't go how you wanted. You've gone through all of this, and then you go home. How do you deal with it at the end of the day? Because you can't like compartmentalize it and block and forget. Because tomorrow you do it again. You know, it hasn't ended. How do you just put that aside and have quality family time without all those things in the back of your mind, knowing that you're back to them the following day?
Actually, you're right. And actually, no one has ever put it like that. The fact that every day you're being bombarded with all these things, you don't even have time to process this. Today, I don't have time to process it. Tomorrow, it's there again. The next day, every week, every year, it can really take a toll on you. So initially, it was very tough. I would have a hard time even going home to face my family. I would be like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to sit in a dark room by myself for 10 minutes and breathe, you know. But now it's not so bad. I've learned how to compartmentalize everything and deal with each thing in its time, in its own way. And yeah, I do have counselors that I talk to. I train a lot. That's another way that I you know, because I can see a lot of mistakes people make in the different sectors, whether it's the police, the judiciary, you know. So I train a lot on things that I have picked up on, trends that I can see these are wrong and need to be highlighted, which really is very rewarding for me. And that's how I deal with it, to be honest. And if it's too much, I just take a break.
Okay, that's what leave is for.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Just take a break.
Okay, Sasa, thank you so much, Dr. Kizzie Shako, for coming through.
You.
It was an honor. I know I will not live to see the end of this show because Shiro will be name dropping here until the end of the. I can guarantee you it's going to be a long show. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
We're getting up close and personal, of course, with Dr. Kizzie Shako right here on Alfajiri. We take a short break. On the other side, I'm giving you a warning. Drop naming alert, and it's coming up on Alfajiri. Don't go too far.